Salutations everyone, this is Razor bringing you guys Quest for a Main Episode 1. As many of you know if you've watched any of my streams, I do not have a main in Smash 4, and I've thought, you know what, enough is enough. Let's try and see if I can find a main in this game. And we're not going to go through every single character, but because there's obviously some that I know I'm just not going to be able to use. But we're starting off here with Kirby because he was the first character that I really gravitated towards when the Smash was only on 3DS, and there's that soft meteor for that first early kill. Kirby is an interesting character. You don't see much of him on For Glory at all. You very rarely see him in tournaments. You have Mike Kirby, Kid Goggles, and Supergirl Kells are both Sonic mains that secondary Kirby, and outside of that you barely see any Kirby play whatsoever. He's not considered a great character. He's not like worst in the game like many would assess him to be in Melee. I mean, his feet have gotten smaller ever since he was tippy-toppy tiers in 64. But he does have some pretty good tools. He's got a really good combo game at early percents. He has that soft meteor and dare. He's got that spike and up special, which you're not going to be able to use as you would normally with spikes, but you absolutely will get it. There are some setups for it, and it can catch opponents off. He has the second lowest crouch in the game, second only to Jigglypuff, so he can crouch under those Sheik needles. He has really decent power in all of his smash attacks. He's got a decent edge game. Some with either with the spikes or fair chains, or the back air is a pretty decent kill move at rather high percents. He's got that kill throw with up throw when you get to those higher percents. It's not a great up throw, but or kill throw, but it does kill. It will seal the deal when your opponent's at 130, and that could, obviously make a huge difference. Any character with a kill throw doesn't have that much trouble killing, as long as it's a normal kill throw, that'll, kill before 170, something that might actually help in a lot of your games. So, with Kirby, he's not a character that's very safe on approach. We're gonna bait out that counter because that's what we do with our hammer. The hammer's very strong. Not super useful because, it's easily avoidable, but you can get some hard reads and, punish your opponent very, very well in many cases like that, especially, of course, on For Glory, where the quality of combatants is, let's say, lacking in many people's eyes, and some people are just too afraid to fight the hammer, so they just fall off and accept their fate. So Kirby does have his strengths. Right out the gate, he's not a character to approach, so you sort of have to react with this character, which is counterintuitive to how I mostly play Smash 4. I'm a very aggressive player. I'm too aggressive, and we're just gonna... Oh, he accidentally gets the footstool on me, so I'm just gonna bait that out and get the final cutter to seal up both of our first stocks, since he got that footstool on me. But Kirby is not an aggressive character. He doesn't have good range at all, outside of his forward smash, where he does take a step forward and then launch that kick, which is fairly good kill power and fairly good range. He gets outranged by pretty much any character. Anyone with disjoints or projectiles can give Kirby trouble. Of course, he has that low crouch, so he can go under most projectiles, and including a lot of attacks. A lot of smash attacks, a lot of special attacks, and jabs and what have you. Even some grabs in some cases. So he can be a decent defensive. He does have decent defensive options, especially with all of his jumps. But even with all those jumps, he doesn't have a very good recovery. Very predictable, very easy to edge guard if you know what you're doing and you know the matchup. Kirby has trouble landing. His down B, outside of getting those stage spikes, is not very safe at any point unless your opponent tries to contest you when you're really high up in the air, or you read, or try to get an edge guard like in that circumstance. It's not very useful attack. Final cutter is very punishable and not a very good move, for landing. Dare, none of his moves really have priority. Kirby has 0 priority in this game. He will lose every single trade on tilts, smashes, pretty much anything. Kirby just does not have that priority. And there, I used the hammer on the Fox because since he was off stage, and both of his recovery options have a little bit of startup lag, I knew I could hit him. Even if he air dodged, I could have just waited, because if he air dodged, that means he would have to use Firefox, in which case I would have plenty of time to hit that hammer. So that was a 100% kill opportunity there, and I took it. So you can make some reads off stage with the hammer. And also, the hammer, if you're in the air, and just before you land, if you throw out the hammer, it'll actually swing and hit twice if you're still in the air. And that can break shields or catch an opponent off guard. Maybe they drop shield and you continue to get the kill. So when it comes to starting off with Kirby in a match, since he's not super safe on approach, basically want to wait for your opponents to make an option, and based off their selection, you'd most likely want to go for up tilts early on. You can get, it's not like crazy Mario up tilts, or it's not even as good as Fox's up tilt, but you can get up to 3 at really low percents. And you can even combo that into up tilts into up airs and then reset that on fast fallers. That's a really good use against, say, Sheik especially. Kirby doesn't do well, I think, in most matchups in the game. I think he loses to every high tier and top tier, except he has a pretty decent matchup, I think, against Sheik and Ryu. Against Sheik, because he can crouch under those needles, he can really do some damage on Sheik in the air, combo her fairly well. With up tilts, Sheik has some trouble killing, so if you're both at high percents, that up throw can seal the deal. And his recovery, while not the best, it's something that a Sheik is going to have to get a good hard read on to, get a bouncing fish set up. As long as they don't get that needles into bouncing fish, then they might have a little bit of a hard time. And Kirby can just do pretty decent work up close against Sheik. We've seen that when it comes to matchups that we've seen in tournament, like when Kid Goggles took Mr. R to final game, final stock. And also with Mike Kirby did a very similar job against Void, almost clutching that close set out. And we're going to catch that recovery on that Ryu, just going way too low. So Kirby's going to catch that little bit of armor on that hammer as well, but nothing that Ryu is going to have trouble doing. So I think that's why he does well in the Sheik matchup. And while he does good in the Ryu matchup, I feel is because all of his aerials are multi-hit outside of up air. So he can do well against the focus attack, either hitting with Nair or Fair or down air. So the focus attack isn't as useful for Ryu. And if you get your footsie game on point, you can punish Ryu's landings, since his down air or his neutral air doesn't have exactly the biggest hurt box beneath him. So I think he does a pretty good, decent job at juggling him. Also off stage, if you can get him far enough, you know he has to Tatsumaki. So you can try to trade with an aerial, hit with a hammer if he's so far off that he's going to be still in the Tatsu animation, but it's not going to have a hurt box out there for you. So he has some decent things, I think, against Ryu as well. Other than that, I think he has bad matchups against every top tier, every high tier, and some of those matchups he loses just really, really poorly. Like, for instance, I think he really has a terrible matchup against Palutena. Just because of his airspeed is garbage, the fact that he has trouble at landing. Palutena has that up air. It can do a lot off of her throws. And we're going to catch that Gandorf there with the final cutter spike. And I know I could just get it again, so I'm just going to bait it out because Gandorfs, they love to go for disrespect, love to go for dares. So we're just going to get hit by that on purpose, wait for an opportunity, go a little low, and we're going to seal that out at 8%. So that is what Kirby can do with that spike against terrible characters with bad recovery. But he has some decent matchups in some of the mid tiers, and I think wins most low tier matchups. So he's not a bad character. You do see Kirby's have some success in certain matchups, but for the most part, his lack of range, the fact that he has no priority, no really good kill confirm outside of dare into down smash, maybe an up smash off of a mix-up. It isn't a true combo. Many characters can get out of it at certain percents, or certain characters can just avoid it altogether. But for the most part, it's a fairly decent combo, especially if you catch your opponent, just a little off of the edge. And there, I knew because of Yoshi's jumps, chances are he wasn't going to snap to the ledge, so I just got a fully charged forward smash on him. So at low percents with Kirby, you're going to want to go forward throw into fair, re-grab, pummel. He's got a really fast pummel. You can get, 2 or 3 in there depending on your opponent's percentage. And then go for another fair. And then there's like a 4% sweet spot that you can actually combo forward throw into final cutter, up special. But outside of that, you're going to want to go for up air after that. But after, say high 40, 50%, depending on the character, you're not going to combo off of forward throw unless they like DI in for some crazy reason. So you're going to want to go for down throw for the additional damage. Back throw if you want to get them off stage, especially if they have poor or exploitable recovery. Maybe go for an inhale and just, grab them off the ledge. Or if they have, really terrible, very obvious recovery, like say Little Mac, who is going to have to side B, you can just inhale, shoot him out, and then inhale, shoot him out, and he's dead at like 0% just because, Little Mac things. So there are some really useful moves that are just super niche and really don't have a lot of use outside of those few instances. Pretty much like every single one of his smash attacks, inhale, hammer, final cutter, and down special, really don't have a ton of use against most characters in most cases at decent skill levels. But here on Flagori, we just go for crazy shit and we hit people with hammers just because we can. So I mean, I like Kirby. He's okay, but I don't perform all that well with him. I put a lot of time into him. I think he's my most used character now. Before he was like my 5th most. So there's the dare to down smash confirmed. It's pretty darn decent, especially with heavier characters or fast fallers. Some of them aren't going to be able to get out of it at those kill combo percents. We're going to try to chase that Falco there with the fairs like we tried with the Fox, but to no avail. This Falco is pretty darn good in the air. He does prefer it, obviously, for a reason. So because of Kirby's lack of range, because of his lack of priority, and the fact that he's super light, I mean, he has a puffball. He's not, the lightest character in the game. He's heavier than Jigglypuff or Game & Watch. He's still fairly light. He's not midweight. He's sure as hell ain't a heavy. He's no Mega Man, but he can survive it at decent percentages, but not to a point because of his exploitable, obviously bad recovery and very poor options landing. He's not going to be, living to high percents fairly often. Like even sometimes some lighter characters can at times because of, one thing or another. So Kirby, I don't think really plays all that well with my playstyle, just because I'm just too aggressive. I'm not that good with his combos. I don't up tilt as much as I probably should. I can't get those perfect pivot up tilts. I just do not have the skill. Sometimes you can get those nice dare soft meteors and get a kill, or a final cutter, or a hammer read. And while those are really fun and satisfying, it's just not something that you can play consistently against decent players. Kirby has really bad matchups against, like I said, pretty much every top tier and high tier, with a couple of exceptions like Sheik and Ryu, where I feel like he has a decent matchup because of certain properties of his moves and his play style. Kirby is not an aggressive character. You want to have your opponent make a mistake. He's not really that much of a bait and punish. While his smash attacks are all decently strong and you can kill with all of them, and he does have a kill throw and some pretty screwy mix-ups that you can throw in there. A decently fast jab with a finisher. His forward tilt, good get off me move. Down tilt is fantastic, has a really high tripping property. Up tilt's really good for combo starting and racking up a little bit of damage. It's just his lack of range really hurts him in a lot of cases. He can be camped out pretty well with anybody with decent aerials because of his bad landing options, his really slow airspeed, and pretty poor recovery. So it just doesn't really play all that much to my liking. I do like the character. I have fun with him, but I don't think he's main material for me personally. I'm not good enough with his strengths, and his faults hurt me more so than I think other characters might as possible main prospects. So I think we're going to be able to get anywhere between like 7 to 10 episodes on potential mains for me in this game, and hopefully, by the end of it, I'll have selected 1 or 2 characters that I truly want to focus on with greater consistently, get more into that character and play them at their highest potential, or at least the highest that I can get them to be, because as you all know, I'm a below average Smash player. That's not a surprise to anybody. I'm kind of garbage, but Kirby's pretty fun. He has some pretty nice setups and pretty easy combos. You can get some pretty cool mix-ups in there. He doesn't do really great against shield. His grab range is okay to bad. His offstage game is alright, but like I said, very niche. His back air isn't incredibly fast, but it's decently strong, so that's pretty good for edge guarding. The fact that fair is multi-hit is very nice. The fact that you could, the knockback allows you to string multiple fairs out there, but only if you can get the good read and if they have high jumps or a good recovery move in their up special, then Kirby's not going to be able to do much against them off stage. And he's, because of his airspeed and his lack of mobility, he's going to be, pretty easily edge guarded by characters that know how to edge guard with their character, regardless of how well they do against Kirby. Kirby's really a character that, to get him with the final cutter there, going a little too hard. So you can punish things, and Kirby can surprise you, especially since not many people know the map set. So we're going to end it here with a nice quick little JV3, because Kirby is just that good. Or Ganondorf players are just this bad, because, back throw, it's OP, isn't it? Anyways, that's my Quest for a Main episode here with Kirby. Let me know what your thoughts are on the character or how you found your main, and I'll see you guys next time.